Hi guys, so today we're doing Unit 6, Lesson 14, Find Solutions to Inequalities in Context. So you can write an inequality to represent a situation, and you can describe a solution to an inequality by solving a related equation and then reasoning about the values that make an inequality true. So the big thing with today's lesson is just being able to understand what it is actually saying based on the word problem itself, not with numbers. So the idea is being able to translate that. So the warm-up is solutions and equations. So they want us to solve. So negative x. So I'm going to turn on my drawing tools. And if you remember from when we talked about this before, negative x means negative 1x equals 10. So I would divide by negative 1 on each side. Negative 1 divided by negative 1 is x. 10 divided by negative 1 is negative 10. All right, for this one, they want us to find two solutions that are true. So it has to be a negative value that's greater than 10. So if I look at that, I'm thinking, okay, let's look at the previous problem. I know that my answer has to be greater than negative 10. So let's try negative 9. So that would be, I don't know how that happened. So that'd be negative 9. So negative times a negative is a positive. 9 is not greater than 10. So I know that that's not going to work. So it's going to have to be negative 11. Let's try that. So negative times a negative is a positive. So I get 11 is greater than 10. Yep. So I could have negative 10. I'm sorry, not negative 10. I could have negative 11. I could have negative 12, I could have negative 12.5, something like that. All right, so now they want us to solve this one. So 2x equals negative 20. So for this one, I'm going to divide by 2. So I'm going to split into two equal groups. So each x is equal to negative 10. Finds two solutions that will work. So 2 times what is going to be greater than negative 20. So I want to remind you really quick, if I have a number line and I have 0 and then I put negative 20 on here, negative 19, negative 18, negative 17, negative 16. So remember, as we move this way, it gets larger. Okay, so the value, it becomes larger. So if I wanted it to equal, let's say, negative 18, that would mean I would have to make this negative 9. Because 2 times 9 would be negative 18. Negative 18 is closer to 0, so it is larger. Okay, or I could be negative 8, and I would get negative 16. So things like that. All right, so we're earning money for soccer stuff. So it says Andre has a summer job selling magazine subscriptions. He earns $25 per week plus $3 for every subscription he sells. Andre hopes to make at least enough money to buy a new pair of soccer cleats. So let N represent the number of magazine subscriptions Andre sells each week. Write an expression for the amount of money he makes this week. Okay, so I know that he gets $25 plus 3 times the number of subscriptions each week. Then it says the least expensive pair of cleats that Andre wants costs $68. Write an inequality and solve an equation to find out how many magazine subscriptions Andre needs to sell to buy the cleats. So that would be 25 plus 3n, and that has to be greater than or equal to $68 because I have to make either more than 68 or equal to 68 to make this true. So the first thing I'm going to do is subtract off my 25 on each side, create my 0 pair, and I'm left with 3n is greater than or equal to 43. Yep. So then I'm going to divide by 3 on each side. So n has to be greater than or equal to, 3 goes into 4 one time, 13. That would be 4 times with 1/3 left over. So 14 1/3 subscriptions. Well, I can't sell 14 1/3 subscriptions. So that means n has to be greater than or equal to 15 to be true, because I can't sell a third of a subscription. Okay, I can't sell part of a subscription. All right, Andre sold 16 magazine subscriptions this week. Would he reach his goal? Explain your reasoning. Well, let's try it. So 25 plus 3 times 16. And this has to be greater than or equal to $68. So order of operations says I need to do this part first. 3 times 16, so that would be 48. Plus 25. Is that greater than or equal to 68? So I get $73, which is greater than or equal to 68. So would he have enough money? Yes. $5 extra. Right? Did I have that right? Alrighty. What are some other number of magazine subscriptions that Andre could have sold and still reach his goal? Well, I know that anything greater than 15, so 15, 16, 17, 25, 60, any of those numbers would have worked. Anything greater than or equal to 15. Write an inequality expressing that Andre wants to make at least $68. So again, that would be 25 plus 3n. At least means the lowest amount that he can make, which means that it has to be greater than or equal to 68. At least means the lowest amount would be the 68. So the alligator has to open to the other side. Write an inequality expressing the number of subscriptions Andre must sell to reach his goal. Well, I just kind of did that. So 25 plus 3n is greater than or equal to 68. So that would be it. Could Andre sell exactly 14 1/3 subscriptions? No. You can't sell 1/3 of a subscription. Okay, Diego has budgeted $35 from his summer job earnings to buy shorts and socks for soccer. He needs 5 pairs of socks and a pair of shorts. The socks cost different amounts in different stores, and the shorts he wants cost $19.95. Let X represent the price of 1 pair of socks. Write an expression for the total cost of the socks and the shorts. Well, that would be 5 X for the socks plus $19.95. Write and solve an equation that says Diego will spend exactly $35. Well, exactly means I need to have an equal sign. So 5x plus $19.95 equals $35. So I'm going to subtract $19.95. And I'm left with 5x equals $15.05, and then I'm going to divide by 15. I'm sorry, I'm dividing by 5. I'm left with x equals $3.01. So list some other possible prices that would still allow Diego to stay within his budget. Well, it has to be less than $3 and a penny. So it could be $3, it could be $2.99, it could be $2.98, anything like that. Write an inequality to represent the amount Diego can spend on a single pair of socks. Okay, well, it would be 5x plus $19.95 has to be less than or equal to $35. Because this is the most, this is the high end of what he can spend. Can Diego pay $13.01 for a pair of socks? Yeah. You can pay change. You can charge part of $1. How does solving an equation help us solve an inequality? You use the same steps. What are some other ways we could determine whether the solution of an inequality should be less than or greater than? So when you're thinking about it, you need to consider if it's less than the total. So what are some other ways we can determine whether a solution of an inequality should be used less than or greater than? Consider the total and whether this is the most that can be spent or the least. How can you tell if there are restrictions on solutions of the inequality, such as only positive numbers or only whole numbers? Well, you would have to know what the context of the problem is. Meaning that if the problem had a lot of individual issues, like, for example, the socks, that could be, you could pay in change, whereas with the magazine subscriptions, you can't sell part of a subscription. So you have to really think about, okay, what's happening? What does X really mean in this context? So in this situation, what does X represent? All right, so this is just a reminder from last year. An open circle means that it's not included. So if you look at it, you'll see that it doesn't have the line underneath. If it has a closed circle, that means that there's a line underneath. That means greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. If it's in between two circles, that means the value is somewhere in the middle. And on this side, it does not include the 1, but it could include the 6. Okay? So it's just kind of a reminder of what we're doing. So name some values that satisfy this inequality. Well, I know that it could be 1.5 or 2 or 3 or 4. It can't be 1 or anything less than 1. Okay, for this one, it could be negative 1.5, negative 2, negative 4, negative 25, anything like that. All right, so now you've got your cool down. It is currently 0 degrees outside and the temperature is dropping 4 degrees every hour. The temperature after H hours is negative 4H. Explain what the equation negative 4H represents. What is the value of H that makes the equation true? Explain what the inequality negative 4H is less than or equal to negative 14 represents, and what values of H make the inequality true. So you're going to kind of be doing several select alls. Let me know if you've got questions. Sign up on Calendly or send me an email and I'll be glad to work with you. Have a great rest of your day.